Nikolich is on your left. His teammates, Miracles, Blue-White Control, they don't like to do anything. They like to they're a do-nothing team.
Man.
Counter your spells, kill you eventually. Against Sachs, Maine, and Briksza, Briksza, Delver, Lantern Control, and Blue-White Control. Rudy B did win last week on Blue-White Control. He helped put that deck on the map. He's playing it again. But we turn our attention to Maine and Nikolich. Who do you think wins this match and why?
Honestly, probably Blue-White Control. Like, they don't really get affected by Ensnaring Bridge that well. I mean, obviously, the Lantern Control deck can put you in the soft lock, but, you know, the Jeskai Control deck has stuff like Cryptic Command, I believe.
Yeah.
And the Cryptic Command being very good.
He
has Teferi in his deck. He has Teferi, Hero of Dominaria in his modern deck.
Maybe it's good.
Ooh, what if he EOT Teferis and then plays other Teferi? Like,
Wait.
plays the, you know.
Okay.
You know, maybe.
Living the dream, maybe?
I don't know. It's weird to me that Teferi Hero of Dominaria is better than Teferi Archmage of Dalfir or whatever.
That's not weird to me. That first Teferi is like 12 years old, man.
Yeah, but he's gas.
It was really good. It's like seriously 12 years old now, which means we're old. Because I remember casting that card in like PTQs. And running my creatures into it and losing a bunch.
Every day I feel worse about how old I am.
It's all right. We're still just living the dream. Here's a Logic Knot from Nikolich, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, Lantern just trying to do Lantern-y things. They cast Ancient Stirrings. Tried to cast Lantern to set up the, you know, the soft ruin your fun. This is another LGS guy deck.
Depends on what your definition of fun is.
You know what? Sure.
Just depends what your definition of fun is. If you don't want your opponent to have any fun, that could be a lot of fun. That's my kind of fun.
So Andrew Maine actually has a Damping Sphere in the main deck, so I'm looking pretty good here to hit a bingo square.
To have it do nothing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually true.
Like his Jeskai deck, you know?
That's actually true. Here's a Steam Events untapped. He's going to mill himself. He's going to mill a Whir of Invention.
Yeah, I mean, with Kodak Shredder, you know, it's always good to mill yourself early because at some point you can spend 5, sacrifice it, and get any card back. So, you know, it may seem weird for him to be hitting himself with the mill effect, but, you know, you're basically just making your card selection for Kodak Shredder better later on.
Here's an Electrolyze from Benjamin Nikolich. He's going to target Maine. He'll deal him 2, draw a card, and now Inquisition will resolve. Search for his Kanta.
Getting that one out of here.
Yeah, most likely. Lightning Bolt. Welcome back, everybody. Apologies for the technical difficulties. Cedric Phillips, Todd Anderson. We're here in the booth at the Baltimore Convention Center for SCG Baltimore Open Weekend. We've, of course, got Nick Miller. He's over in the sideboard doing deck techs, picking future matches, player spotlights, and he brought us this feature match here, which we're joining in progress now between Benjamin Nikolich, SCG Columbus champion earlier this year, on, of course, Jeskai Control, against Andrew Maine playing Lantern Control. We're in the middle stages of this game, Todd, where Nikolich has a little Snapcaster Mage action going, and Maine doesn't really have much of anything going right now.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew Maine's deck is built on the predication that they are going to assemble a ton of artifacts that all kind of work together to lock your opponent out of the game. Nikolich was able to counterspell the Lantern of Insight on the second turn with a Logic Knot, and ever since then, Andrew Maine's just been trying to play some discard spells to, you know, hopefully keep the Jeskai deck from being able to interact. The Snapcaster Mage, I believe, flashback a Logic Knot to counter something else, and now is actually putting pressure on Maine. And that's exactly what this Jeskai deck has to do in this matchup. They need to find some way to apply pressure to basically force the hand of the Lantern player to do something.
Yep.
Otherwise, you know, they just get infinite time to set up their lock pieces.
So as these players are waiting to be given the green light here, you see the other matchups. Adonis Medrano is playing Blue-White Control against SCG Atlanta champion and 3-time SCG Tour Open champion Rudy Briksza, who's also playing Blue-White Control. Briksza helped his team win SCG Atlanta last weekend by playing Blue-White Control in the standard seat. And then on the top shelf, Luke Purcell playing Miracles against Mitchell Sachs playing the Legacy Boogeyman, Briksza Delver.
You know, I don't think Briksza Delver is that good of a deck. I'm just going to say it. I have played it as the Legacy player in a team event.
Okay.
One of my teammates has played as the Legacy player in a team event, and both times they had the worst record on our team.
Really?
Yeah, by a wide margin.
Well, what do you think is the best Legacy deck then? Do you think there is one?
No, probably not.
Okay.
I used to think it was lands, but over time, like, it just got worse and worse. Like, it's one of those decks that just gets worse as people realize it exists and figure out how to play against it.
Okay. Well, we're back underway now, folks. Our technical problems hopefully are solved. Thanks for sticking and staying with us here on twitch.tv/SCG Tour, as Andrew Maine's going to play a Pithing Needle, and we'll get confirmation on what he is naming. He's going to need Celestial Colonnade.
Without an ensnaring bridge right now, that's actually a pretty good name.
Ooh, another Snapcaster Mage.
Just peels back-to-back skis.
Yeah.
This is putting a lot of pressure on Andrew Maine. 2 bolts here, EOT with the Snapcaster, plus going to untap an attack for 4, and it looks like that's enough to get the job done.
Well, we took a step away, we come back, and we see Benjamin Nikolich peeling some Snapcasters and some bolts, Todd.
We had to wait like 5 minutes or whatever for Nikolich just to kill him in one spot.
Well, Benjamin Nikolich is going to win game number 1 over Andrew Maine. Just got control up a game over Lantern Control and Andrew Maine. And, of course, you see at the top there, Luke Purcell is down a game against Mitchell Sachs. So take that. Briksza Delver doing what Briksza Delver does.
I mean, there's a reason why everybody plays it. It's fine. It's a good deck.
We'll talk more about that and a whole bunch more. But first, a few words from our friends over at Twitch. Welcome back, everybody. StarCityGames.com Baltimore Open Weekend as we prepare to watch game number 2 here between Andrew Maine and Benjamin Nikolich. Lantern Control, Jeskai Control. We're going to start with Andrew Maine and his 2 Abrupt Decays, 2 Welding Jars, 2 Proffering Nodes, 2 Leyline of Sanctity. A Bantu's Last Reckoning, Collective Brutality, Graph Trigger's Cage, Pithy Needle, Tezzeret, Agent of Bolus, Nature's Claim, Dark Confidant. What do we like, Todd, here and why?
So I don't expect a ton of disenchant type effects out of a Jeskai Control deck, so I don't think Welding Jar is where we want to go. Leyline of Sanctity has some value because one of the ways that the Jeskai deck can win is just by burning you out, as we saw in the previous game. Like, obviously, Snapcaster Mage had a little bit to do with it. But, you know, just the fact that Leyline can protect you from all the Lightning Helixes and Bolts and Electrolyzes, you know, that's going to be their main way of killing you through Ensnaring Bridge. Collective Brutality I do like as just another discard spell. You can use it to pick off a Snapcaster Mage that's pressuring you as well. And you do have like a couple of not-so-great cards like the backup Mox Opal, for example. Not a huge fan of Pithy Needle in this matchup. Really only there to stop something like Celestial Colonnade. And, you know, cards like that are not a huge deal for an Ensnaring Bridge deck.
We'll go over to Nikolich, who's got 2 Dispel, 2 Vendilion Click, 2 Damping Sphere of his own. 2 Celestial Purge, a Baneslayer Angel, and Elspeth Sun's Champion. Settle the Wreckage, Wear Tear, Negate, I think a good one here in Engineer Explosives, and Rune Halo.
Yeah, so Rune Halo, I believe, can shut off not the Lantern of Insight, but Codex Shredder, right? You have protection from the card, so you can't be targeted by the Codex Shredder?
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, that's how that works.
Yep.
But, you know, they still have other ways to mill. They have, oh, man.
Hey, Pixis.
Pixis of Pandemonium.
Yep.
I was getting there.
Yep.
Injure Explosive seems like it could be pretty good, just, you know, destroying all the 1-mana artifacts. Wear Tear, a Disenchant effect is pretty obvious. Vendilion Click being a flash threat that can strip a card out of Andrew Maine's hand doesn't sound that bad either. And negate for obvious reasons because it's counterspell.
So Nikolich up 1 here. The Snapcasters were timely. He's taking a mulligan right now. The Snapcasters in the Bolt, Snapcaster Logic knotting away the War of Invention. All that stuff was very good. Do you think he's favored after sideboard?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he gets all these, dead Path Exiles out of his hand. He gets to trim down on the burn spells a little bit. Looks like he's taking another mulligan, though, so it could be a tough one.
Fair enough. Going to go down to 5. We could be on our way to a third game here. Who knows? But one thing we will talk about while we do wait is the StarCityGames.com weekly sale. Because, Todd, you said you're a shill. We're going to see just how good your shilling powers are because we have some cards that we have to sell at Star City Games.
I was being facetious, honestly.
Were you?
When I said I was, I'll try my best.
We got up to 20% off select modern singles. Convenient since we do a lot of modern gameplay and we have modern at this tournament.
Hey, you know how Standard basically disappeared outside of the team opens? That's because Modern.
That's because Modern's awesome.
Modern is great.
Modern's
Everyone loves
fantastic.
Modern. Bloodbraid Elf, freshly unbanned. Get them now. They're on sale. 20% off select Modern singles.
It's right up there along with Abrupt Decay.
Says it on the screen.
Hallowed Fountain and Windswept Teeth. Go to StarCityGames.com /weekly sale. Ends on Monday at 10:59 a.m.
Kind of mad Abrupt Decay can't really be cast by Hallowed Fountain. That's just pair the lands up with the cards at least,
Go talk to Ray.
Yeah, well.
You're in the office every week.
He doesn't talk to me.
Yeah, here's a Spire of Industry into a Lantern of Insights. This will resolve. Let's take a look at the top cards. Thoughtseize there for Maine. A Serum Visions for Nikolich will be his draw. His top card is a Celestial Colony.
One thing I definitely do not like about cards like Corso, Crewfix, Lantern of Insight, things that reveal the top card of your deck, they don't come around very often, but when they do, they're often powerful cards. Like, they find their way into some decks. And it's such a unique aspect of Magic, playing with the top card of your deck revealed, that it actually can cause a lot of rules violations. They have recently done some changes to help alleviate some of those rules issues by, I guess, taking it down a notch as far as how bad it is. But at the same time, it's just mechanically very difficult to always play with the top card of your library revealed. And it also makes for some weird things, like during scrying, do you show both of them? Do you just show one of them?
Yeah.
So don't play Lantern. That's what I'm getting at. Just don't do it.
It is a little unconventional, as you see. Nikolich just thinks he's supposed to reveal the negate. Unsure.
Can he shuffle? But can he shuffle the cards? Who knows?
I actually have no clue.
Banned immediately.
yeah. Get out of our tournament.
You shuffled the cards. Should have known better. Does he reveal the top card right now? Who knows?
He will now. And that top card is going to be another copy of Serum Visions. We get to do it again, as there's a Glacial Fortress.
He shuffled away a negate. I'm not sure if I like that play. Maybe he just really needs lands, but he had the second land already. It looks like he has a Dispel in hand. I believe that is a Worldwake Dispel, just for War of Invention. Yep. Bingo.
Which is worth countering. You see Logic Knot, Electrolyze, and Snapcaster Mage also in hand.
Yeah, this hand is pretty good. I believe he's on a mulligan to 5. He's getting his best card taken here, which I'm assuming is going to be Logic Knot. But he may take the Snapcaster Mage. But, Logic Knot seems like a safe pick. If he has a War of Invention in hand, he may, take the Dispel just because it only costs 1 mana. Looks like his hand is a bunch of artifacts and Ancient Stirrings and an Abrupt Decay.
Yeah, not a ton going over there. You see a Codex Shredder, a couple other artifacts. You mentioned the Stirrings, I believe. Looks like there's an Abrupt Decay as well. And we're going to see what Maine wants to select here. It's interesting. Snapcaster Mage and Logic Knot, those are the cards that he lost to last game. Looks like he's going to take Logic Knot this time.
Yeah,
now there's Codex Shredder.
That's fairly expected. Codex Shredder here actually just going to shut Benjamin off of lands. Or try his best to.
Plains is the reveal.
All right, so now he doesn't have Logic Knot. There's no reason to hold up the 2 mana. Go ahead and just cast the Serum Visions. My guess, he lets it happen. That's fun.
I mean, is it reasonable to try to keep him off of lands the entire time, you think?
I mean, I think so. I mean, even if you mess up, you basically just reset, right? Like you then you start attacking different cards.
Okay, sure.
But you can attack lands for a little while.
Looks like Snapcaster Mage is going to stay on top. Looks like he kept top. There's a Plains pass the turn back.
Yeah, so it looks like Nikolich here is planned to recoup from these mulligans. He's just going to start going for Snapcaster Serum Visions over and over again. If Andrew Maine is able to hit something like a Graph Digger's Cage, then that might actually be really bad for Andrew.
And that
or
card,
for Nikolich.
that card in Maine's hand actually is a copy of Nature's Claim, not Ancient Stirrings, as he draws a Mox Opal. Top card of his deck is a Welding Jar. So here's Pixis of Pandemonium. That is a Mox Opal.
That's 2. I need him to play one more. Come on, Ancient Stirrings. Do it. Ancient Stirrings to find a 1-man artifact.
There is Ancient Stirrings.
Here it comes.
So you need 3 artifacts in 1 turn?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And then we have, well, we don't have bingo yet, but, you know. Wow, it's a bunch of lands and a welding jar and a redundant Mox Opal. Oh, yeah. We're taking the welding jar.
I think we're taking the Glimmer Void.
I'm kidding.
Are we casting the welding jar this turn, though?
Why would you not?
Are we casting it? It seems like a bad time to...
Bang!
Okay.
3 or more historic cards down. What up?
Welding jar doesn't feel particularly historic.
I don't make the rules.
I'm just saying.
You know?
Doesn't feel particularly historic, but you can have your stamp. Top card here. Looks like it's going to be a Search for Escanta. It is. This is going to resolve. Something juicy for Abrupt Decay to destroy as we head back over to Andrew Maine.
Yeah, I mean, normally you want to use Codex Shredder to get rid of cards like that, but at the same time, like, you have the Abrupt Decay in hand that's just kind of rotting.
Yep.
And the fact that it can't be countered is pretty great against something like Dispel, which you know that your opponent has.
Pithing Needle was the draw. Pithing Needle looks like it's going to be the play. Though, again, I'm unclear what he's going to name this go-around. We saw him name Colonnade last time. And you see now he's consulting his Andrew with Rudy Briksza on potentially what the play is this turn. Decay, Nature's Claim, and Needle in hand. I think they might be saying, I actually want you to claim this as opposed to decaying it.
So the argument here is, do I just Pithy Needle Escanta the Sunken Ruin? Okay. So he does actually just Pithy Needle naming Escanta the Sunken Ruin, and that leaves his Abrupt Decay for later to be able to shut down, I don't know, maybe Rest in Peace, because Rest in Peace can turn off your Codex Shredders. Maybe Stony Silence, which shuts down all your artifacts.
Okay.
You know?
Stony Silence is a legit reason to hold on to that decay.
Oh, for sure.
That makes a lot of sense. But he also has like really good control of his draw step right now. And I guess my only fear here is what's the plan? Here's Electrolyze.
Yeah,
Ooh.
So this is actually really bad for Andrew. He is about to allow the draw of Injure Explosives in response to the activation of Codex Shredder, I believe.
So maybe gotten a little sloppy here?
Maybe just playing a little fast, not thinking through exactly what your opponent could do in response. Like drawing a card with Electrolyze, he knows it's there, right, from the discard spell earlier.
Yep.
But, you have to play quickly with a deck like Lantern also. So you're going to, that's just going to happen sometimes.
Codex Shredder, it looks like Maine's going to target himself. Loses Lantern. Mishra's Baubles on top of the deck now. And this is all before he draws a card. And he doesn't really want the Bauble either.
It cycles. It's not. It's slightly worse than a random draw. Now he could actually pop Bauble main phase and then draw Whir on Nikolich's turn and cast it. But he still has to worry about that Dispel.
That's true. Here's Nature's going to take care of Search for Escanta.
Yeah, I think I'm just letting that one happen if I'm Nikolich. Just because the Pithy is already naming the backside.
Yeah. So how good is that card really then?
The front side is not bad. It allows you, and you don't have to flip it. And since the needle is on the backside, I'm pretty sure he was not going to flip it. Just because you can keep, if the Lantern player leaves you with like a dead card on top, like a land or redundant burn spell or whatever, you can just put it into the graveyard, and then they have a chance to activate again. But
here's EE for 1. 1 mana permanents on the battlefield right now are Lantern of Insight, Codex Shredder, Pixis of Pandemonium, and Pithing Needle, naming Escanta the Sunken Ruin.
Well, that is very, very bad news for Andrew Maine. Pithing Needle maybe should have been naming something else.
Yeah? I'm inclined to agree.
I mean, once you have Codex Shredder and Lantern of Insight going, I think you just, since he had Abrupt Decay for the Search for Escanta, I think you just want to use that and then use Pithing Needle on the one card that could destroy you. You know, this is really bad.
So here's EE in the upkeep. Coda Shredder is going to mill Cryptic Command. The top card now is Aspire Bluff Canals for Benjamin Nikolich.
So he does have the ability to Welding Jar one of his 1-mana things. He does not have enough mana to activate Codex Shredder's secondary ability, though.
Which one of these do you want to save?
Honestly, Lantern probably. Yeah. It's the one you have the least amount of redundant effects for.
Okay.
Pithing Needle's gone too. Get it out of here.
Pithing Needle does have to go. So we'll clean up the battlefield here. We will notify our judge that needle must go.
It's not a huge deal at the moment because the Search for Escanta is already gone.
Welding Jar is the top card of the deck. There goes the needle into the graveyard. Battlefield all cleaned up.
Just want to point out, Regeneration does tap the permanent. You don't get to see that too often.
It's actually kind of important with Whir out there, with Whir in hand, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now you take a look at the battlefield. That Mox is off. The Lantern, okay, sure. Spire Ministry still on, so he'll cast this. I'm going to take Snapcaster Mage, and all he's got to do is work through a Dispelling Nose, the top card of Nikolich's deck.
Not a Hallowed Fountain, or sorry, not a Celestial Colonnade in sight either, so under no pressure.
Yep.
So even though he just lost a significant amount of his battlefield, still not dead, not in bad shape, because the Jeskai player is not able to capitalize on that sort of advantage without having a Snapcaster Mage or some other form of pressure in play. That's what you cannot let happen with a Lantern control deck. Not saying that Nikolich did anything wrong. His deck is just inherently not very aggressive, not able to capitalize on missteps from the opponent or just bad situations.
Here's the second Lantern of Insight. That's going to resolve, dispel the only card right now.
Should have kept the
Shredder. I think he's going to sack this one, and make him shuffle because he doesn't want Nikolich to have a Cryptic Command. Definitely should have kept the Shredder.
Sure.
So Nikolich is going to draw a mystery card here. Actually, it's not a mystery because we're all going to see it. I take that back.
Well, he gets a fresh look. If it's a Cryptic Command, you know, there's a chance that Andrew just shuffles it away again. Stony Silence, you know, fine. Oh, yeah.
All right. Pass the turn back. I think you let him have this one.
Yeah, you kind of have to.
Oh, boy, this is getting tough.
Nope, yep.
Stirring's the draw.
My guess is we are not going to have a Game 3. That's just my guess.
Okay.
Could be wrong. That blue-black land does not tap for green mana.
We'll do it via the Mox. Yeah, definitely Crypticing this.
Look, I'm gonna have to call a judge here and move that Welding Jar out of the lands pile, please. We updated the MTR. You know, we need all lands in the land zone.
Okay,
creatures in the creature zone.
He's moved it over a little bit.
Okay.
It's hanging out with the Mox now. They're teaming up.
That's fair.
Nikolich is going to sacrifice a fetch land, go get himself a Steam Vents.
I'm also very obviously joking. I hope no one thinks that I'm actually getting on to Andrew Maine.
He's in some real trouble this game.
Oh, yeah. No, he's in – yeah. If Andrew Maine had drawn like a Pixis of Pandemonium or a Codex Shredder instead of a backup Lantern of Insight, this game would be significantly different.
Yeah. Ruined Halo on top now. Hollow Fountain's got on the battlefield tap. Nikolich still at 20. Maine at 50. Life totals don't matter a ton, as here's the Snaring Bridge. Maine doesn't even care about that, and I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
Ruined Halo the draw, Island on top of the deck.
You know, I'm actually kind of curious what he would name if he casts it. He's probably going to wait until either like a Codex Shredder comes in or something. You know, there's not a whole lot of things named. Pixis of Pandemonium is not a targeted effect. It's both players.
Yep.
So I feel like Ruined Halo should just be naming Codex Shredder, just straight up.
Is there any reason to name Discard Spell? Probably not.
Probably not, no. I mean, I guess he can protect his negate. Like if he sees him flip over Inquisition of Kozilek or some such, then he plays it, and then his Dispel still locks down the War of Invention. So.
Now here is Ruined Halo. Let's see what this is going to name.
Yeah. I mean, you shouldn't name that one. That's.
Should he name Lantern?
Maybe he should name that one.
He's got Teferi on top of his deck. I think you might. Oh, well, Abrupt Decay is going to kill that, so it doesn't matter.
Right here.
We go back over to Andrew Maine, who's going to draw a Pithing Needle. Lantern was the name briefly there with Ruined Halo. Here is the Needle. I think we're going to see a negate. A little fight over this. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, naming the Lantern, like it is able to just sacrifice and shuffle away the Teferi, so that's fine.
All right, going to sacrifice a Lantern to shuffle away the Teferi because Andrew Maine does not want Benjamin Nikolich to have that. As you would take a look at our Leaderboard here very quickly. Rudy Briksza. He won SCG Atlanta in blue-white control. He's looking to win SCG Baltimore in blue-white control. Just won the mirror match here over Medrano, 2-0. And then you've got Mitchell Sachs and Luke Purcell, Miracles, Briksza Delver, going to game number 3.
I gotta say, Adonis Medrano is a heck of a name.
I wish I had that name.
You know, you can have it for the low cost of about $50 and a couple hours of hanging out at the courthouse.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, my name's not bad, but Adonis Medrano.
Woo!
Snapcaster Mage's a good Magic card. Secure the Waste, too.
Yeah, I mean, the Ensnaring Bridge can lock it down. Like, he has Word of Invention, which he's just going to go ahead and burn out of his hand here. Dispel from Nikolich is almost certainly going to hit it.
Yep.
But that's going to lock down Secure the Way. Yeah.
Bobble the draw, bobble on top, play the bobble, pass the turn back.
How many mana sources Andrew Maine have? Nobody knows.
A lot. Welding Jar hanging out. He's going to bobble, take a look, draw a bobble, and now draw a Codex Shredder. Top card is a Grafdigger's Cage. Well, he's got to wait now. This is actually a rough spot.
For who?
So, if you're Andrew Maine, you want to play your Codex Shredder and have it resolve, right?
Yeah.
But Nikolich has Snapcaster Mage plus Counterspell in the graveyard.
Yeah.
So you'd actually want to go Grafdigger's Cage, make you counter that, then play Codex Shredder.
Oh, for sure.
But if you wait, he'll just secure for Inf, and then like attack you because you have cards in your hand, which is what he's going to do now.
Yep,
So he's actually got to cast spells.
Yeah. No, I mean I think not. I mean I agree that is a weird spot for sure, but I mean it's only one attack. Like next turn he's 100% going to cast both cards. The problem here is that well, I mean you can't really pop the Mishra's Bobble right now, right? The danger of just taking 10 more damage is pretty high.
Yep.
But a Snapcaster Cryptic Command at any point can put a land in your hand that you can't replay like at instant speed, and then you just die.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that play. Here is a Serum Visions drawing Lightning Bolt.
Man, that is game right there, right? Because
he's at
Bolt, Snap, Bolt. He just took 10.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Bolt, Snap, Bolt should be game.
I'll see what the life totals are.
He should be down to 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, no, that's fine. Hey, Sorcery Speed deck.
Bolt
you.
Snap,
Bolt
you. There you go. Benjamin Nikolich, the Jeskai Control Master, is going to win this match over Andrew Maine, 2-0. So we're all tied up here now as we're going to turn our attention to that third and final match between Mitchell Sachs and Luke Purcell. We're going to try to jump that way between Briksza Delver and Miracles. That was, by the way, a mulligan 5 for Nikolich. You got to remember that.
You know, I actually thought that was a pretty good matchup for Jeskai. You know, just having a lot of ways to draw cards and main deck ways to not only interact with like stuff like Ensnaring Bridge, it is kind of a nightmare for land and control. You know, they're really planning to prey on people who don't have a lot of ways to get through Ensnaring Bridge in game 1. And the Jeskai deck has not only Cryptic Command but just burn spells.
You can also see Maine's a little bit frustrated there too. That Engineer Explosive is a bit of a misstep there, letting that resolve. And actually letting him draw it, not letting it resolve. But either way, we're all tied up as we head over to Sachs and Purcell. A Gataxian Probe, blah, 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 Deathrite Shaman, blah, blah, blah.
Hey, Miracles.
Better swords it.
I mean, why would you sword to Deathrite Shaman for Miracles? You want them to play more things so that you can then hit them with a big old Terminus.
All right.
I don't know.
Hey, you're a much better legacy than I am. Here's a Ponder.
You're right.
Yes. You're a much better legacy than me.
All right. One really cool card in the Miracles deck that doesn't really get a lot of press is Portent.
Yeah?
So cards like Ponder, Brainstorm, like those cards can't set up a Terminus like immediately.
Okay.
They set up a Terminus for like the next turn, like your next turn. But Portent actually draws at the beginning of your opponent, or beginning of the next upkeep, right? So a Portent allows you to cast it on your turn, and then on your opponent's upkeep, you actually get to flip the Terminus off the top. And, you know, that's just not something that gets a lot of press. It didn't really start seeing a lot of play until Sensei's Divining Top got banned. So,
yeah, like the little delayed cantrip, which lets you Terminus and stuff away, which is actually, I mean, Portent seems like an underpowered card in some regards, but for what this deck's trying to do, not really.
I mean, it just gives you more redundancy, but just the fact that you can, essentially cast a Terminus at instant speed on your opponent's upkeep makes the deck feel like Miracles again.
Yeah. though just no top counterbalance. But I think it's better that that's not a thing. I think that's a better thing.
So one thing I want to note, recently there's been a pretty big uptick in people playing Preordain over Ponder.
Okay.
I think a little bit of that has to do with people playing fewer fetch lands. Like when you play a bunch of fetch lands, like Ponder is very good. But decks like Grixis Delver, like I've actually been considering just cutting Ponder from the deck in favor of Preordain because a lot of times you need to fetch a black source on turn 1.
Okay.
Like let's say if your opening hand had Volcanic fetch land, classically speaking, you would lead with the non-fetch land so that your Brainstorm gets unlocked. You get to shuffle with Ponder later in the game. Now, since Deathrite Shaman is black-specific, you don't have a lot of black sources in your deck overall. You have to use that fetch land a lot of times. And you would much rather have a Preordain when you have no shuffle effect than a Ponder.
Okay. No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
But we see the Preordain from Luke Purcell's Miracle sides. Not necessarily for similar reasons. I mean, he probably has not as many fetch lands as some decks.
Yeah, I mean, Miracles doesn't want to play a ton of fetches, right? Like, not now that you don't have tops. Before you wanted to load up,
right?
But now you don't need them as much, and this is more of a way to think fade discard spells, but also just control Terminus better.
Yeah,
most likely.
So since Mitchell doesn't have a whole lot of pressure going on here, looks like Luke's going to go ahead and burn a Swords to Plowshares. I can't imagine another 1-mana spell other than like Path to Exile, which is basically the same thing, except they don't gain life in this matchup.
Yeah, so here is Swords.
Bah.
Yeah, and you said it. He does not have much pressure at all.
I mean, my guess he just has a whole lot of disruption. He's trying to get max value out of his Brainstorm. Doesn't want to commit too many permanents to the battlefield in fear of Terminus. So, Deathrite Shaman already has Luke down to 12, though, so it's done some work. Yep. The fetch lands plus the Deathrite Shaman's been activated at least twice, maybe 3 times.
Well, here's Brainstorm. Legacy's best card has just been cast. 3 cards coming here for Sachs. 2 will be going back here in just a moment. But he needs to get some pressure going.
Yeah. My guess he's just going to put back some lands, fetch them away, and 100% just digging for a way to apply pressure.
So there's sacrificing a Flooded Strand, making it a perfect Brainstorm. There's a Volcanic Island.
Did you just, start saying that one day and you're like, that sounds great?
Yes.
Perfect Brainstorm.
Yeah.
That's a Cedric Phillips iconic
it's one of my catchphrases.
Yeah.
Started that one 3 or 4 years ago.
I gotta figure out a catchphrase for me.
Catchphrases are very important. You already have one technically, right?
Hoobadoo.
That's not one of them. No. I was gonna say you are ridiculous. You have Roll Todd, so you technically already have one, but you need to think of more. That's part of the commentary game.
No, I'm just gonna steal yours.
Okay, fine. Just crib mine.
Perfect Brainstorm.
Is that how I talk?
No.
Okay.
That's how I put my spin on it so you can't sue me.
Okay, got it. Here's a Vendilion Click from Luke Purcell.
So I saw a Lightning Bolt, I think, hanging out in Mitchell's hand earlier. Not normally good against traditional Miracles, but new versions of Miracles have to be more reliant on things like Monastery Mentor and Vendilion Click to get the job done. Since you don't have top, something like Entreat the Angels is a little less reliable, although still pretty good.
Oh boy, this hand is very reactive. 2 copies of Surgical Extraction, a Gurmag Angler, and 2 lands.
Burp.
I might just let him.
Have it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I might just let you keep them.
Have it. You don't want him to draw Brainstorm, so, yeah. I mean, Gurmag Angler can be problematic. It is very big. But at the same time, 1 mana 5/5, probably better than a random card. I'll give him that.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like your thought process, though, if you really don't want him to draw Brainstorm. Here's the hand for Luke.
Ooh. Deathrite Shaman already ate a bunch of stuff, though, so not a whole lot of targets.
So he's going to go after Swords.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea, although it feels a little awkward right now, we're in a scenario where you need your cards to affect the battlefield. Cards like Vendilion Click are putting pressure on you.
Yep.
And if you're using stuff like Surgical Extraction and not playing things that are like creatures of your own or interacting with the Vendilion Click, you're not actually doing anything. Yes, you stop him from drawing a future Swords to Plowshares. You take away one of the targets for Snapcaster Mage. Big deal.
Yeah. At the cost of 2 life, too, I think.
Well, that's probably a Terminus. Just freeze?
Nah, could be anything.
They're just really tanking on whether or not to put this Ponder into their hand or just play it really fast. I mean, at this point, I think you don't cast it, Like, he has 2 Terminus in hand, I believe.
All right, well, he's going to cast it.
It's not that bad. You are at a slight life total disadvantage. If the Delver flips, you're actually losing that race.
There are 2 copies of Terminus in hand, as you mentioned. There's also a Brainstorm and a Counterspell over there for Luke Purcell. We already saw Mitchell Sachs' hand. He's got multiple copies of Surgical Extraction. Well, only 1 now, but he did play 1. Here is another Delver.
Yeah, I mean, I feel here's a decent point to go EOT Brainstorm, untap Terminus away the Delver. Though Mitchell has a Surgical Extraction, so Luke actually needs to be a little careful.
He does need to be a little careful.
But he does have the Counterspell. So
okay.
He can, I mean, if Surgical Extraction eats a Counterspell, you know what? Fine.
It was good then.
That's a good Surgical Extraction.
It was good.
But it's not because of the spell actually doing anything.
Yes.
It's because of the card it baited out.
Yes. I'd much rather use that Counterspell for something like a True Name Nemesis or, honestly, a Brainstorm. World Council's Judgment is a good draw but not castable.
Man, it's almost like fetching basic lands is bad.
Oh, stop. That's why Miracles is good. There's a Tundra. Take that. And a Jace. Hello.
Yeah, you drew a dual land, and the dual land is great.
A couple of cards going to go back from the Brainstorm. No fetch land, it looks like, for Purcell. But
could just slam this Jace minus. If he has another land, I don't recall the 2 cards he put back on top, but he has at least a Tundra left, right? So next turn he can go Jace plus Counterspell. That's not too shabby.
Force of Will to reveal, yeah?
Yes, please. I'll have what he's having.
I don't know if he has got a blue card in hand. He's definitely got the 5th land, though.
Yeah. No, I mean, sometimes, Force of Will is a 5-mana Counterspell, and that's good enough. Traditionally, in fair matchups, I'm not a huge fan of leaving Force of Will in your deck, but I think Miracles and decks similar to it are kind of the exception. Playing against a control deck, they only have a handful of, big win condition type things, and being able to shut that down, even at the cost of a 2-for-1, I think is worthwhile.
I think it's, right on the edge of having to keep in. I don't know if you'd keep all 4 in your deck.
I mean, it's better than something like Lightning Bolt, which he's obviously still has in his deck.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's still a 2-for-1, and a grindy matchup is not the best.
Okay.
But here, I mean, that's what I'm saying. And against something like Miracles, I think that is the exception. Like in a Grixis Delver Mirror, I don't really like Force Will that much, for example.
This is a Flooded Strand. That is attack with Insectile Aberration. Looks like Purcell's going to take the damage. It's going to fall down to 9. And now we're going to head back over to Luke, who's going to play Terminus. You can Surgical this with it on the stack.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And it hurts his draw step, too. So he kind of needs to fight over this with Counterspell. I mean, he could just let it go and just play Jace, but there's still the threat of the Force of Will. So he can let it go, get the Terminus get knocked out right, play Jace, Mitchell fetches, plays Force of Will. Luke has enough mana with the Tundra in hand to actually play Counterspell on the Force of Will. And then at that point, probably minus the Delver to take a little bit of pressure off. He has to replay it and flip it, but you have an active Jace, but you have no more removal in your deck.
Sure.
All the Swords of Plowshares are gone.
And you're out of swords.
Yeah, so
okay.
It looks like he is going to try to fight here. Oh, wow. He might actually just go for Hardcast Force Wall and Counterspell just to get rid of all the Terminus.
I mean, that might be worth it.
No, I think it is worth it. Like I said, it gets rid of all of his removal. I guess he has Council's Judgment, but, not a lot left.
Well, let's take a look at the deck list.
Sure.
This will help. I've got, oh, wow. The name of the deck list, read that.
Blue, White, Red, Delver Slayer, version 3. You know what?
He better win.
You better win,
He better
sir. Win. Last week when I was playing, my buddy Will Cruz was playing Legacy, and every single opponent he played against that would lose would say, I have such a good Grixis Delver matchup. You are wrong.
Not true.
It's a fine deck that will beat you in some spots.
It beats everybody.
That's honestly, whenever there is a best deck in a format, every single, person you play against that's not playing the best deck is going to say, my deck is pretty good against
whatever the best deck is, yeah.
And usually they're just wrong.
Yeah. I don't think Grixis Delver has any bad matchups.
Well, that's certainly not true.
No?
No. I actually think the Turbo Depths deck is a pretty bad matchup.
Okay.
The black-green deck, just because, like, they have so many Pithing Needles to shut off Wasteland. They don't really care if their spells get countered other than Crop Rotation. Like, everything else, like, who cares?
Okay.
And they can just kind of combo you without playing a spell. And that's terrifying.
That's true. That's true.
If Pithing Needle resolves and, like, you don't have, like, a sideboard to Ancient Grudge or some way to get rid of it,
You're in trouble.
You're in a lot of trouble.
So Counterspell got countered by Force of Will. So now all the Terminuses are gone.
All the terms and all the Swords of Plowshares from earlier.
Correct.
So at this point, Council's Judgment, that's about it.
Do you want to play Council's Judgment or you want to play Jace?
Oh, I meant, like, just as an answer.
No, if you're Luke right now.
I mean, he's got to be scared of Daze. Like, he's seen Force Will. He knows there's one random card. It's a Delver of Secrets, but he doesn't know that. Honestly, just Jace it up.
Well, he's going to Council's
Just
Judgment.
Jace a Rooney,
Got to play it safe.
Oh, now he's going to lose to, like, Red Elemental Blast or whatever, It's like... Wait, which one who did Mitchell vote for?
Yeah. Anybody's guess. We're going to go over to Luke. Luke's going to draw. He's got Jace and now an Arid Mesa, I believe. Yep.
Looks like I'm going to play Jace, and I'm thinking actually I'm going to +2 on myself. Because you don't have a way to kill the Delver. If the Delver flips, it's going to kill Jace, but you get, if you put up the 5, it's a little bit harder.
Okay.
So I like a Jace a +2.
Well, if you're Luke, you got to cast him.
Like he's tapping is also not that bad.
Like, he's tapping and untapping mana right now. He's got an Arid Mesa in his hand. Like, there's no time like the present. Got to cast it, and he will. Did he draw Red Blast? You actually called it.
You know what?
You actually keep in the booth.
I'm not going to say, you know what? Whatever. I did it. I did it.
You get to stay for another round.
I mean, to be fair, he would have probably just bounced Delver and got it Red Blasted anyway.
It's true.
Who cares?
It's true. Yeah, that's true.
And he has no removal left in his deck. You know what, sir?
Boy.
I was wrong. I take it back. Mitchell, Surgical Extraction. You did fine.
Surgical looked okay.
You did fine, honey.
Delver's Transform, revealing a Force of Will. In the interim, a Deathrite Shaman came down. And I think
you have no removal in your deck, Mr. Delver Slayer.
Luke Purcell is going to lose this match to Mitchell Sachs, as Briksza's Delver was not slayed by the blue, white, red Delver Slayer version 3. We're going to have to check out version 4.